Thanks a lot for having me here. So I'm Paulin, I'm the founder of Drivey. My presentation is mostly about the evolution of mobility platforms, but before that, I would like to say a few words about Drivey. Trying to change to the next slide. OK. So we are the leading car-sharing platform in Europe with more than 2 million customers, 50,000 cars shared on the platform in 6 European countries and hundreds of European cities. So if you download the Drivey app, you can basically locate a car nearby, open the doors with the Drivey app, and get where you need to go from a few hours to a few days. We are not on the A to B inside cities market. We are for outside of cities. And our specialty is we crowdsource our fleet, both from private owners who want to offset their costs, and also, more recently, from professional fleets who want to run a car-sharing business on our platform and yield a positive return on investment. And so this SUV, the Toyota Highlander, is the best-selling SUV last year in the US. And if we think about what's basically an SUV beyond just the shape, it's a marketing promise. So it's a promise that you can take road trips outside of cities, escape on holidays on dirt roads, while you can also comfortably, in your day-to-day, drop the kids at school and be stuck in traffic. And generally, if we look at cars, they have been designed for ownership, so they have been designed for all kinds of trips. So it's and the SUV is really epitomizes this design made for every trip of the cars. And now, if you look at the evolution of that, here are 2 other SUVs. Now with superpowers on their roof to be self-driving. So if you take a car that's designed to do all trips with a computer that's designed to drive in all situations, basically you have a robotaxi fleet that could grab the whole mobility market, up to maybe 30% of the miles driven in the world. And that has been for the past year a kind of doomsday scenario for a lot of mobility players, where if you have an SUV with level 5 autonomy, then it could be the winner gets all and just kill the whole industry. And actually, what I believe is that is based on a bias of taking existing car design and car uses as a prediction of the future. And we believe that other mobility platforms will be much more competitive than robotaxis on their specific use cases, and that both vehicles and platforms will specialize. So now let's look at different mobility use cases, first inside cities and then outside cities. So the first obvious one is the daily commute. To take millions of people back and forth to work. The specialty of that is there is a huge peak in the morning and the evening, and the consequence is you need to pool. If you don't pool passengers, then there's no way it's going to work on the traffic side. So then what's the future of that? I think it's really all these new mini shuttle companies with dynamic pooling routing that we see around. So in terms of vehicles, it's really high-tech specialized vehicles, but with a low brand value. Consumers are not going to know what the brand is. And in terms of self-driving technology, actually, the more passengers you have in the vehicle, the less critical it is, because the cost per passenger, the cost saving brought per passenger is going to be lower if you pool 9 passengers, and maybe the driver could help people get on and off the shuttle. Then second use case, this hugely interesting invasion of free-floating light vehicles from bikes to kick scooters to gyro wheels. You've seen them invade our cities. Here, the key thing is all about dispatching and maintenance of the fleet. There is probably a distinction of these platforms based on vehicle design, although, again, consumers won't know the brands of these bikes or light electric vehicles. And self-driving tech here on this booming category is mostly irrelevant to drive a bike or a scooter in the short term. So it's not critical in that case. Then the next category is the one I started with, so the robot taxi. I think robot taxis will be king mostly for long-tail urban rides. So talking about suburban sprawl like in California, off-peak hours, more to go out than to commute. The key competencies, dispatching, driving, pooling, and of course, relationship to cities. And how about the vehicle? So we see nice SUVs, and today you have a lot of taxis with nice Mercedes and etc. I believe within a city, you don't need a car that's enabled to go 200 miles per hour. You need, a Golf cart could do the job very well, actually, and it would be better for cities. So I think the cars will actually be simpler, lighter, and commoditized again. Of course, driverless tech for this segment, absolutely critical to save the cost of the driver. Then the intercity, now we are going outside of city, so one city to another. So here it's really all about the road challenging the rail again. And it will be anything between buses to minibuses going super fast with driverless technology on a completely different use case, highway cruising to go really fast as a train while being safe in the vehicle. And then last, our vertical. So most people live in cities. They spend most of their time inside the cities, but still for business, for running errands, and for leisure, you need to get outside of cities. And that's where we come in, extra city car sharing. It's not only about transport, about ETD and ETA, it's also about the experience you get in the vehicle during your trip. So it's not only a pure commoditized transport, it's today renting a high-profile vehicle, and tomorrow renting a robot that can do more than just moving you. So we are talking here on our segment of high-tech cars, high-profile cars that have to combine both performance at speed and also distinctive interior designs. And then on our segment, OEM brands can live and can find a right balance of power between the platform and the maker. And if we look at self-driving technology, what's really interesting is the early stages, level 3, level 4 of self-driving technology will already benefit us because we have people driving in the beginning. So the more time you free on the highway where people can sleep, and you get the benefits immediately without having to get rid of the driver altogether. So now, what are the conclusions? First, for vehicles and OEMs. So number one conclusion, cars will specialize. The SUV made for all, I think, will no longer be a reality in 10 years. Second one, within cities, light electric vehicles and shuttles will rule. And I think the conclusion of that is Western OEM or Japanese OEMs, the incumbents, are way too sophisticated to be on the city market. And I think their future is more on the extra city market. And my advice is that's where you should invest. Then for autonomous technology, there are extremely different, distinct problems to solve, whether it's shuttle in a city, highway cruising, and etc. So the linear view of going from stage 1 to stage 5 with the linear technology is probably wrong, and there will be different markets and different implementations. And last, for mobility platforms, I think the market share of ride-hailing could stabilize or even decrease when you look at the booming of all these other platforms. Car sharing, our vertical, will hugely benefit both from connected cars and self-driving technology. And the way we see the future is there will be one Drivey ride for every 20 rides within cities, which in terms of market value is more a 1-to-5 ratio. It's a market in hundreds of billions. Thanks a lot.